Hello, YouTubers. I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Amps. And sometimes gear and so on. Okay. Now here, I want to bring up a topic which is quite controversial. And that is, let us discuss blackstar amps. Uh-oh. Okay, now, blackstar, as you know, is made from ex-employees of Marshall went off and created their own company. Now, they came out with several very desirable tube amps, right, in the HT series and the Studio series. And they were not all that expensive, and the tones were really great. Now, I'm an avid tube amp player, and I really like the tube clean sound. You know, it just has the right feel to it and the right sound to it that I really like. The problem with that is tube amps are damn expensive. I mean, it's crazy, right? A new deluxe reverb is $13.99. And that's not $13.99. No. That is $1,399. Plus shipping and tax and so on. Well, that's a lot of money. And on top of that, I like to play in stereo. So I'd need two of them. Well, now wait a minute. I mean, that's a lot of money. And, well, this has been an ongoing problem for me, you know, certainly. And on top of that, you've got to replace the tubes once in a while, you know, and depending on how many tubes it has, that can get very expensive too, you know. Now, luckily for us, there's a blackstar, right? And fairly inexpensive, yet has a really nice, clean channel, right? That I like to use a lot. Once you scour the used market, well, things begin to change. And one of the most common inexpensive used tube amps is a blackstar. And now keep in mind, they came out with the HT series. One of the most popular amps is a little HT5, right? And that's a 5-watt little guitar amp. And the HT5R, of course, had only 5 watts, whereas the Deluxe Reverb is 22 watts, and it is very, very loud. The little HT5 is not all that loud. Now, they've come out with several variations of the HT5, which didn't have reverb built in. You know, personally, I really like reverb, and to tell you the truth, I like digital reverb more than I do the tube, you know, kind of spring reverb. It's just my preference. I think it's much more versatile. And then they came out with the HT5R. Added reverb. Wonderful. Right? And then they came out with a version 2, right, of the HT5R, where they've improved kind of the sound but mostly on the overdrive, to tell you the truth. Okay, and there's a Mark 1, a Mark 2, which was an updated version. Well, to be frank, the clean channel doesn't change all that much. You know, it's mostly the overdriven channel, which I don't really use. Right? So, in a way, no sense for paying for something I'm not really using. Now, if overdrive is something you're interested in, then I highly recommend that if you do get a Blackstar, that you get a Mark II version with the improved overdrive sound. You know, on the Mark I's, it was okay. It was pretty good. As a result, the Mark I HT5Rs can be found very inexpensively on the used market. You know, I was kind of on the lookout just to check it out and see, you know, what a used tube amp actually costs. Right? And I mean, truthfully, to get a 20 watt tube head, you know, or tube combo, mostly, I mean, even a Blackstar, I mean, we're in the $300 to $400 range used, right? And, well, that's quite expensive too. Now, so I was looking around and came across this Blackstar tube head, right? The HT5RH. Well, that's only 5 watts, right? You know, however, I'm telling you, it was priced less than that of a pedal. If you were to buy a pedal, you know, a decent pedal, well, this little tube head was about the same price. And I thought to myself, man, I don't know. You know, I mean, I did understand that it wasn't a 20 watt model, right? So it'd be limited volume, limited headroom. However, I was wondering if I could use that, you know, and actually have it be usable, you know, because I'll tell you what, the price was right. I mean, my goodness. That's probably the least expensive real tube amp head that I've seen. Now, to give you a perspective, a 20 watt HT20R H, a head unit, a Mark II head unit is quite expensive. New about $6.99, and used, if you're lucky and it's in good shape and everything, about $3.99, about $400, right? Plus tax, plus shipping, blah blah blah. Under the $200 mark, you know, which a decent pedal is going to cost you that, you know. So I had to look around and, well, try it out, right? And see, you know, what I think of it and whether it can actually be used, you know. And I mean, when you're dealing, you know, with a 5 watt tube head, that's not very loud. And what about the clean headroom? I mean, is it going to stay clean, you know, or is it going to distort and that kind of thing? I'll tell you what, though, it sure looked nice. And Mitty, my cat, approved of it too, you know. He was very pleased with it. That's very important as well. You know, I mean, if I get an amp or a tube amp and Mitty doesn't approve, can't keep it. So, we'll see. All right, so let's take a look at it first. Now, if you take a close look here, the Blackstar HT5R has the approval of Mitty. What do you think, matey? Pretty sweet? Yeah. So there's the Blackstar HT5R. Pretty cool. Alright, now here it is. Here's the Blackstar HT5RH head. Alright, it's sitting on a little Fender amp here, but here it is. You'll see it's got power, right? Power switch, standby, reverb, master volume, 2-channel, amp, ISF stuff, you know, for American or British sound. And those last two are tone and volume for the clean channel. So there it is. But as you can see, right behind it, I've got the Blackstar HT20. It's not much difference, really, except for the power and the price. You know, the one behind it, the 20 watt, is about twice as much as the little 5 watt here. There it is. It's got those silver knobs, and they're pretty nice, right? But it's kind of hard to tell without looking at it closely, you know, where they are set. And so sometimes people switch those knobs out. Just the sound is just unbelievable. And I'm talking on the clean channel mostly. Okay, though it has a really good overdrive channel too. Okay, and it's got all kinds of, you know, built-in effects loop, MP3 line input, the direct emulated output, so you can go right to a PA board or right into a recorder direct if you wanted to. The sound's really good, really great. I mean, you can get that clean sound that I really, really like, you know, and it is so quiet. In fact, I put it up against the Deluxe Reverb, and the Deluxe Reverb was noisier. Can you believe it? And that's on the clean channel. I don't know. You know, I always found my little Fender X2's a 15 watt, you know. And the Blackstar can get equally, if not better, clean sound. You know, I just have nothing bad to say about the clean sound, because it gives you that tube type sound. Doesn't take a lot of tubes. I think, you know, it's got a few tubes in comparison to something like a Deluxe Reverb that has like 10, 11 tubes. So replacing tubes is real inexpensive. But the amp itself used, especially the Mark I, is very inexpensive. I mean, we're talking, if you're lucky, you can find them for between $200 and $300, right? It's not too shabby. So, you know, I was hoping that, well, maybe I could get the same kind of a clean sound that I got out of the 20 watt with a 5 watt. Now, I have to be very careful because a 5 watt, you know, amp head has a lot of less headroom for clean sound before it starts breaking up and distorting. Right? But it's been my experience, what I've learned is that you can take a small amp, and depending on what speaker cabinet you hook it up to, you can get quite a big sound out of it. So basically I put this to the test. So it's like a real tube head. I mean, this is no joke. And in fact, I have a 20 watt blackstar, and it's almost the same size, not quite, but almost. I mean, this is a full size head, really. Pretty nice, as we saw. Now, here's what I found. The clean channel is almost identical to the 20 watt, though not as loud. I mean, that's it. It is so similar, it's hard to believe. Except it's 5 watts. I did find that it was, plenty loud to use and things. And I've actually used it in recordings. Right? And this is very nice for me because I get that tube sound. That I really like. That clean channel tube sound sounds really good. And, don't have to pay $13.99 for it. Right? That's crazy. Sorry. But that's just so expensive. And the amp I'm talking about is a deluxe reverb. And they are literally at Sweetwater, $13.99. Can you believe it? That's a 22 watt amp. And real quick to show you, I'm going to play through it, but besides that, I've done some recordings with it already. Now, keep in mind, right, because I'm playing in stereo, and this is just a live 2-track recording. One is the Blackstar, right, the HT5R H head into a little Vox 112 cabinet. And then on the other channel I've got the little Fender X2, which is a 15 watt. Okay, and let's take a listen to that. So this is one of the first recordings I did. Yeah. Well, it sounds just fine to me. It's, kind of what I was looking for. Very clean, very quiet, as far as noise goes. Of course, I was using pedals and things into the Blackstar. And to think that that amp is under 200 bucks used is really the bargain of bargains. And I can tell you something here. Let's stop this. I can tell you something. I remember I used to play some solid state amps, and man, they were just noisy. So I had a real hard time just playing guitar and recording just the guitar sound. They were just too noisy, too much hiss and that kind of thing. Or the Blackstars, man, they're just as quiet as can be. And to show you that, here's a recording of just the guitar, right? No bass emulation, no anything. You can just hear it. Take a listen. That's really what it sounds like. I mean, yeah. So those are some recordings with it. Definitely, I get the sound that I like, you know, very inexpensively. And so let's try it out. And here I've got a reverb on, so let me turn that off. So now this is just the amps, no effects. Pretty good with just the amps themselves. And when you add a pedal, was expecting it to be just like the HT20, but with less volume, right? And in fact, that is exactly what it is. I was really pleasantly surprised. Now, if you're playing in a band with a loud drummer, the HT5 is going to be struggling to be heard, on its own, of course. Now, if you mic it or go direct, it has an emulated output that you can plug right into a mixing board and PA system, then it'd be no problem. I guess one caveat is how long will it last? Don't know. Could last a very long time, or could blow up, who knows. And I'll tell you, these aren't the easiest to repair, certainly, and I guess that's kind of one of the drawbacks of a blackstar amp, I guess. But to tell you the truth, at this price, the repair would cost more than the amp cost used anyway. It cost me used, So in that sense, I mean, it would be worth repairing, Okay, so that's the only drawback I can find. So listen, if you buy a new blackstar amp, right, it comes with a warranty, right? And I'll have you know that usually they don't repair the amp, they replace it. Okay? And so in that sense, if there is a problem, a warranty is a very good thing to have. Right? Now, usually on a used amp, right, there's either no warranty or, in the case of a Guitar Center, they give you 45 days. After that, you're on your own. In other words, if you buy a used guitar amp from Guitar Center, after 45 days, if there's a problem, you're on your own to get it repaired or what have you. Okay? And knowing that blackstars, right? And I mean, I'm not singling out blackstar, okay? There are many other amps that are similar, that use these very tiny components on circuit boards, right? And if there's a cold solder joint or resistor going out, etc., right? Very hard to get repaired, right? Now, knowing that, if you do encounter a problem and something goes wrong, it's going to be hard to repair, right? And you may have a doorstop on your hands and money's just gone, right? However, keep this in mind. Through Guitar Center, for example, if you buy a used amp, you can buy pro coverage, basically an extended warranty. And it's very unusual because it also covers used guitar amps. Right? Now, it's not free, you have to pay for that, but you can get up to 3 years of protection, and they'll either, if you run into a problem, they'll replace it or refund you or give you a gift card, right? And, you know, a tube amp is a sizely investment, right? And 45 days is not very long, you know. Hopefully, you know, you may never need it. You know, that would be ideal. But do you want to take that chance? Let's say you spent $500 on a tube amp, right? You would think that's really expensive. Even used, it's not that expensive for a tube amp. But that's 500 bucks, right? And after 45 days, upon day 46, you know, the, I don't know, power transformer goes out or something like that. Well, you're just SOL, basically, right? And you've just thrown away 500 bucks. And you've got a non-working amp that nobody really wants to work on, and it's hard to get repaired, basically. Okay? So, but with this warranty, right, that $500 will cover you for 3 years, right? And I mean, it's probably about, for 3 years, for a $500 amp would be probably about 75 bucks, something like that. Right? Now, when you divide that by the 3 years, it's actually very little money. Right? And usually I don't advocate buying extended warranties, especially on new products that already have a warranty. Right? But on used amps, I think it's actually a great idea. Right? Because basically you've got that amp and you're guaranteed to have those 3 years. Right? And if you do run into a problem, right, they can, you know, refund you, give you a gift card or whatever. Right? So you're not just out whatever it is, however much you paid, you know, $500 or what have you. Right? And have a tube amp that you can't really get repaired, you know. So in that sense, I think it's super, a super good idea, right, to get the warranty, you know. And many times, you know, a used amp can have problems or can develop problems, you know. And I'm not talking about, you know, tubes that go out or something, okay? That's to be expected. I mean, that's just, you know, normal wear and tear on an amp, and eventually the tubes go out. I'm talking about real repairs of, you know, where you have to take it to a tech and have him, you know, whatever, you know, fix something on the PCB board or the output transformer, all those kinds of things, right? So in this case, you would be protected. So I wanted to mention that. And if you do buy one from Guitar Center or a used amp, it's probably a good idea. You know, I suppose it depends on the amp. You know, I mean, there are definitely some that are real bulletproof, or at least very easy to have serviced. You know, but some of them are just, they're not really easy to have repaired. You know, and so that was definitely a concern. So I wanted to mention that. Okay, see you next time.